Hey yo, my Rollercoaster friends, Johnny 5 Alive here. And it is time for the Q&A. Somebody suggested I should start using my webcam, and I got no footage for you guys. I also haven't slept in a day, haven't shaved in a week, haven't left the house in a month, and haven't seen the sun for a year. But we're doing it anyways. And with that said, we have a Q&A to go over here today. But first, a word from our sponsor. Once a park spotlight, an innocent kitten falls from one of your kiddie coasters. Because of your non-stop persistent park spotlight features, every week, a couple kittens fall to their impending doom. I have been working tirelessly to put a stop to FTPK pandemic. And even with the smallest amount of support through Patreon or YouTube Join Plus, you can fund me to develop a better coaster train harness on kiddie coasters and prevent FTPK incidents. So please, click the join button next to subscribe or the Patreon link down in the description below. And by doing so today, you can save another kitten tomorrow. Alright, so you guys heard it there. You can save a kitten while also supporting the show to get more contests and daily videos. So if you guys do enjoy the show, please do check out our Patreon and YouTube Join Plus. Alright, let's get into it. We have a whole bunch of questions from our Discord Q&A to go over here. So let's dive right on into it. First question comes from Gracias YouTube. Where can you submit? So there will be a submission form linked at the bottom of the rules form that's going to be linked in Discord. The submission form will also be posted in the announcement sections in Discord, which means you're going to have to be a member to submit. Hanzo Hack asks, do I have to knowledge to build qualified mini park even if I have never built any sort of coasters before? Well, you don't have to build a coaster. You could always build a ride, but as long as you give it your best and make a theme park, this is a theme park contest, not a coaster contest. So theming is the most important thing. And if you do your best there, you should still have a chance to win in the builder bracket. Demon Rainbow asks, does it have to be end-to-end 40 by 40 or can it be smaller? So you don't have to build right to the edges. And I actually didn't like the idea of building to the edges, and that's why I said you can kind of terraform the area around it so we don't have these edge-to-edge parks. We can create a little bit of a contour in between and a bit of a transition. So it can be smaller, but 40 by 40 is super small, so I really hope you try to fill that space as best as you can. Woot Games asks, do you get extra points for realism? Absolutely not. This is a video game. The winged one. Do non-functioning rides also count as flat rides? And what they mean by that is those fake rides that you see people making out of basic shapes. No, they do not count, but you can still place them in addition to the other ones. So there you go. And if it doesn't count, then it doesn't really count towards your 5 flat rides. It really just counts as scenery at that point. Is 40 by 40 something like a blueprint coaster, or can I still build a big ass coaster? Well, that's up to you. If you can fit a big ass coaster in there and a park with your park entrance, all your flat rides and your shops, I mean, there you go. But if I open it up and it's just a coaster swallowing everything else, it's, you know, at the end of the day, you got to make a park, and it's got to look like a park. Are we allowed to use friction settings on rides? I guess so, but if something goes wrong, it's not my fault. I would actually advise against it, honestly. Last time we had a contest, somebody used the friction settings and got mad at me when their coaster didn't finish, and sometimes the friction settings don't apply to the user who downloads it. So you might want to be really careful or have somebody test it. I'd say just use the friction that comes with the game. Demon Rainbow asks, so can we terraform outside of the park, but say you want a city backdrop, can you facade outside the park boundaries? Probably not. And we actually have a poll in Discord going, which is going to further answer some of these questions, but I'm going to say no to that, and I'll show you guys the poll in a second. I'm still letting it chunk up some votes. All right, Pingy Johnny it is. Can we have sub-themes within the park if they fit a cohesive theme? So if I were to have a steampunk park, could I do mine do a mine, a forge, a main street part? Would the sub-themes be too much? Well, Sublimes, you are a legend builder after all. If you could pull it off, if you say you have a steampunk park with a mine and a forge, I think you'll have a way to make that forge steampunk, that mine steampunk, that main street steampunk, but you're basically hinting to me that you want to do steampunk, so I expect that there should be some steampunkness throughout the entire park. Does it have to be realism? Absolutely not. This is a video game. We want you to push your boundaries of creativity. So we want to see you get a little bit crazy, but not overly crazy to the part where it doesn't look like a park anymore. So push your creativity. Absolutely. What if the park has no certain theme, but it's not random, says Blubber. What? If it doesn't have a theme, then you've missed the whole point of the contest. If it's just amalgamation of stuff, then it is random. So I think, I don't get it. Next, can we go under the water with a coaster? Absolutely, you can, as long as you know how to do that. It's a bit tricky to do that, but you can absolutely do that. You can do an underwater area. Stale Blitz asks, so it says we can have the trees on the outside of the border, but can we have similar things such as bushes, rocks, or no? All right, it's time to do the poll. Let's pull up the results. Screenshot. So I did 2 different polls. Here, we'll bring it up on screen here. A very serious poll to discuss with the community. Needed to resolve it ASAP. Since this contest is for you, the people, and you have decided on a park size of 40 by 40, you can help decide on the troublesome debate too, but I get the final say. A lot of people are wanting to place more than just trees and terrain outside of the 40 by 40 area. I have seen a lot of potential good ideas in the Q&A using more than just trees, but I also want to control these limits. Otherwise, what's the point of having a 40 by 40 limit? So I propose 4 options to vote on. 1, the way it is currently, only trees, terrain, and paint. 2, add rocks, bushes, pathing, and minor waterfalls. 3, all of the above and minor acceptable blueprints such as bridges or minor buildings. And 4, all of the above with track rides for roads, river rapids for streams, and exterior parking lots. And the results are in. 20 people want it to remain the same. 100 people want a little bit more. 30 people want a little bit more than that. And 20 people want everything. With that said, it's more heavily leaning towards just having a little bit more, and a lot of people are wanting to do something outside with some blueprints, so we created a second poll. The second poll was, seems some people want some sort of blueprint outside the map. What if I allowed 3 small blueprints in the distance, such as a bridge, a shack, or a statue, for example? Small background touches, yes or no. We got 77 votes on yes and 48 votes on no. This is a hair splitter. It's pretty tough, but majority of people want just a little bit. A lot of people don't want anything at all. So how do we please everybody here? You can't always please everybody. The community wants what the community wants. So going back to this, the question here, majority of people want to be able to add rocks, bushes, a little bit of pathing, some waterfalls in the background. And I don't know why I didn't think of that at the time. If you're going to be adding trees, you might as well have some bushes and rocks, but I didn't want everybody to be spending too much time on the outside of their 40 by 40 when the focus is on the inside, but we also don't want to open up big giant square boxes within a giant square flat box. That's why I was concerned about the 40 by 40 mini contest not being appealing to the average viewer and not making for good videos. By being able to elaborate on the outside a little bit, it creates some continuity between the creation, but also still forces you to build everything within the limits. With that said, what I think I'm going to allow here, between a mixture of the votes, you can add rocks, you can add bushes, you can add waterfalls, but I don't want these gigantic waterfalls that like give me frame killers. A few particle effects to add a little bit of water to a water source. Something small. Don't overdo it. Don't make Niagara Falls. Do not kill my computer. Otherwise I won't look at it. If you kill my computer with your background stuff, what was the point in a mini part? So just a couple small touches in the background is fine. The minor pathing can't be integrated with your park in any way. It just, you know, if anything, you're using natural paths to lead you up hills, but you can do that with terrain paint anyways. But, you know, you can do a little bit of pathing in the background just for whatever reason, if it adds a little bit of creative polish. With that being said, some people want to be able to add some blueprints to the background, and I really, really love the idea of we see these big mountains in the background, and there's like a little bridge going across, and then a little building at the top of that bridge, and that's kind of like the background to your mini park. You see something cute in the distance there, or maybe like a big Zeus statue off in the corner. I like that as a background. So I personally feel we're going to allow 3 small blueprints, not gigantic 4K monstrosities, not entire cities, 3 small blueprints, a bridge, a statue, a small singular shack or building. Nothing crazy, guys. Just make sure, if I open it up and I'm like, whoa, he put a city in the background, that's not acceptable. Use it in moderation. I'll allow the 3, but that also means you can't just go, oh, my one thing is going to be a giant parking lot blueprint. No, we're not allowing the parking lots, the track rides, the river rapids, the exterior buildings. None of that is going to be added based off of this poll. Majority of people want to keep it simple, keep it a mini park, but I get it. We want the extensions of rocks, bushes, minor waterfalls. That's not too bad. And 3 tiny blueprints. I think I'm giving a lot here, and that should please a lot of people. So hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. We're just going to extend the exterior just a little bit, but you should be able to do a lot with the terrain painting, the terrain work, and the trees, rocks, and bushes that we gave you, plus 3 little blueprints. So hopefully that makes everybody happy. Let's go back to the questions. Where's my questions? So yeah, Still Blitz was asking, so we can have trees in the border. What about some bushes and rocks? Yes or no? Boom. Yes, some bushes and rocks, acceptable. Moving on. The Blinds ask, another question besides trees and terraforming, are we allowed to have entrance facilities, roads, parking lots, bridges outside of the park boundaries? Yeah, we've just answered your question. No roads, no parking lots, but you can have a bridge, a singular bridge. Merlin asks, if we decided to go with a city background, would it be okay to add more buildings purely as backdrop outside the border? You can have 1 building. Or I guess 3 small ones. Small. You get 3 to work with. Alexei Goskrata asks, does a dark ride count as a main attraction? Absolutely. And it says yes by the reactions. Are base game scenery pieces allowed or all custom? That's actually a good question by P. Mr. 3. So there are blueprints that come with the game that you can just kind of pull out and place. And I would consider those to be also workshop items, because then you could also use the pre-made coasters that come with the game, you know, the pre-made shops that come with the game, anything like that. Yeah, so no, you have to be custom. Jersey Coaster Kid asks, my theme includes shops to be pretty generic and unthemed. Should I make them look nice? Yeah, we don't want anything unthemed. Everything has to be themed. I mean, your theme includes unthemed stuff, so it's not much of a theme. I don't quite get it. If you're going with like a modern theme, it's still a theme. So if you're gonna have a canopy going over top, you're gonna be using certain materials, and you know, even like a random cafe or whatever on the side, it's gonna still have a polish or a generalized theme, whether it be like Midtown or modern. Yeah, anyways, hopefully that answers your question. How do I put more pictures on the workshop? I'm new. So if you go to your workshop page, you will find basically a button that says upload more pictures. So once you've uploaded something, you go to that workshop link on the Steam page, and you will find ways to upload more images. If you need help with that, ask in Discord. I'm sure someone will help you. Fork asks, how do I enter? There will be a form in Discord as well as the rules form. Will we be deducted points if we put a ride outside of the park for theming? Example, non-rideable cars as a hideaway. I love the idea. I love it. And I kind of am for it, but we just can't do it, because then everyone would feel like they need to do it. And then those who didn't have it would feel like their park's not as cool as someone who did do it. So, yeah, no, we can't do it, unfortunately. It'll just slowly become a park contest at this point. Defeats the whole purpose. So I think I've given enough with those 3 mini blueprints. Moving on, Joseph Pancake asked, does making a realistic area without much theming but with attention to detail count as a cohesive theme? Well, if your theme is realism, I still think you need to have a cohesive theme in terms of, like, I've come up with my own modern build set that I use these vinyl plastic walls with wood backings and metal trim, and that's everywhere with a touch of blue, and it's cohesive across everything. If that's like your thing, I'm pretty sure you can make it work, but like, you still have to label it as like, this is my theme. You know, I'm going with this modern build and make it interesting. So that seems like a tough one. Best of luck. Darks asks, how far can we push the outside border theming? You were allowed to terraform the outside border, but is allowed to theme the terrain if we talk nature and maybe small buildings and maybe some effects, and of course not over the top detail, but it blends in with your mini park overall. So I think I've answered that question. So yeah, you can basically theme that terrain with paint, trees, rocks, bushes, waterfalls, and 3 buildings or 3 blueprints. Can we do a mix between a dark ride and a coaster? Absolutely. Dodger asks, someone probably asked this, but can we build outside the boundaries for things like surrounding roads? Okay. Are we allowed to start today or tomorrow? Start now! Katarina Kitty asks, what if some reason out of the control of the coaster supports or scenery end up outside the boundary? This has been happen in Planet Coaster from time to time, even on a regular size park. If you built your borders in scenario mode and you've brought it over to sandbox mode, you shouldn't have an issue. And if it goes like a hair out, you'll be fine. Asby asks, you mentioned no custom music due to copyright issues, but what about copyright-free music? Can that be allowed? Please. Can't do it, can't trust it unless it's YouTube royalty-free music, but then that means I have to search every single song that you give me. If you change the name of the file for any reason, then I'm not going to be able to find it. It's a massive headache for me. And then if you do it, everyone wants to do it. It's just simply not fair. But you can take the music that you added and that you intended for your ride and put it on your Steam page for other people to download. Just make sure you have a Planet Coaster song attached to your ride that's fitting to your ride. So when I go ride it, I can listen to the Planet Coaster music and other people can attach your custom audio file. Death by Suplis asks, if you make a coaster mini park inspired by a movie, TV show, it's not violation of copyright because you made your own because you made it your own thing. I wasn't sure if this was a question, but basically it's like parodies or whatever. It's like a rip-off. Like, you'll never ever be able to recreate the original Mario and Planet Coaster. It's always going to be slightly different. It's going to be a little bit more bubbly. It's going to be your own. You know, it's going to be slightly off. But the main part is there's no visual copyright claims on YouTube unless it's a direct video copy where someone, you know, it can be copied frame by frame by the YouTube bots. That being said, like YouTube algorithms only look for matching videos and matching songs. So if you have a little Mario in the corner, it's not going to be like, Mario has been detected in this video, copyright strike. So yeah, we're just lucky that they don't have the technology to do that stuff yet. Dwayne asks, can I create my own music for the rides? I don't know if you created it. You could have just told me you created it, and I have to just go off your word. And if you do it, everyone's going to want to do it. And if you do it, people are going to ask you to do it for them. So it just becomes unfair. Again, put it on your Steam Workshop page, but pick something that's suitable for the ride, and that'll be that. And guys, remember, this isn't a ride contest. This is not a coaster contest. If you want to do all these crazy thematic rides, do that for Coaster Spotlight. We're making a theme park here. Music shouldn't even be a question. Does your park have to be completely realistic, or is it okay to have some less realistic stuff if it helps the theme? We never ask for realism. And the Coaster Spotlight, Park Spotlight, most stuff, a lot of the stuff is beyond realism. It's a video game after all, and we expect you to go a little bit above what is possible in real life. So yeah, have fun. Nils asks, can we build underground? Yes, you can build underground, so long as you stay within the height restrictions that we gave you in game. Haunted Ice says, if I want to build the whole thing in a cave, as long as it is set to the height limits and everything can cave terraform on the outside extend over the height limit to cover the build, or do I need to shorten the height of my build to fit the terraforming as well? Okay, we're gonna have to go into game to answer this question. So I think what Haunted Ice is asking here is if she can make a cave. So if we pretend like this is our cave here, it starts from outside the border and extends to inside the border. So technically the cave is outside of the boundaries. That is okay, in my opinion, so long as your park does not go over this line. So if you were to make your cave ahead of time and go into sandbox, it won't even let you adjust the terrain because you'll hit the border wall. It'll literally cut flat like that. So as long as your park inside the cave doesn't go outside, you can still have your terrain of the cave on the outside. Hopefully that answers your question. But if you're gonna do a big cave on this giant pad, am I gonna see a theme park or am I gonna see a cave? And then when I go inside, does it feel like a theme park? So I want you to be able to get creative, but I want you to know that you're taking a massive risk, because one of the big things is we're asking for a theme park. Can a theme park exist in a cave in a video game, and can it still be fun? That is for you to figure out, but you're taking a massive risk a massive risk. So just be careful, because I honestly don't know how to feel about that, opening it up and just seeing a mound. So if you can make it really pretty, pull it off and make me go, wow, okay, I'm not going to DC it just because it's awesome. Maybe you can win me over, but I don't want a bunch of people trying this just because I gave her permission on her specific idea. All right, back to the questions. Does a main ride has to be a coaster or a water coaster? No, it doesn't have to be a water coaster or a coaster. It could be a track ride. It could be a little car ride. It could be a huntsman, but it has to be classified as a track ride or a coaster, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a coaster or a water coaster, if that makes sense. Hopefully that clarifies it. That does not mean transport rides. Your main attraction cannot be a transport ride. It cannot be a flat ride. You need a main attraction. Teamworks asks, looks like Horror Heights doesn't fit. What? Oh no! Back to game! All right, rides, Horror Heights. Is it editable? I've honestly never tried making one of these. From the looks of it, you can only do a tall tower. That doesn't even change it. Okay, let's look at the parameters of our park now. Horror Heights easily fits. And with our 100 height restriction, you can also move this box up. So if you had your box right in the middle, so your underground was equal, yeah, see, that's what you had it. You had your Y direction at 0. So we said we're gonna give you 100 height, but you can work that up or down however you choose. So the Horror Heights does not fit by default, but you can move your Y direction up. So if you have less underground to work with, but more up overhead to work with, it easily fits. And you can easily do a tower in this space. Basically, we're saying we didn't want anyone to do coasters taller than this. And even that's getting a little bit crazy. But then now, if you do go to the max height, that means you can't go underground at all. So we're giving you 100 height to work with, 100 meters, and however you see fit to move this up and down. However you want to move this up and down is up to you. So if you want to fit the Horror Heights, yeah, you're gonna have to move the box up, which means you're gonna have less underground to work with. So hopefully that answers your question, but it definitely does fit, so that's good. Next question, to confirm the contest is open to all, correct? I don't have to already have an advanced ranking, right? Yep, it's open to all, but right now, Alex336, you are currently a non-registered member because you have a white name. That means you just joined Discord. So there's gonna be a form that you have to fill out to become a registered member, and one of the administrators will register you and give you a new builder rank, or if you have a lot of stuff on your workshop, you might earn a higher rank. So if you have a white name in Discord right now, you best have that resolved by the time the contest ends. Otherwise, you will be automatically disqualified because we do not see you as a registered member. So if you're coming in, you have a white name, go to the announcements page, find the registration form. I'm pretty sure a bot will send it to you the moment you join Discord, and then you just fill it out. You'll be given a rank and you'll be fine. In terms of the advanced rankings, we expect advanced quality from you, so be sure to read up on what exactly is expected of you. We don't want, we want people to try their best, and we want people to strive for an advanced and higher. Red Josh asks, can I use this? Yeah, you can. We're allowing custom images. You can put that on a billboard. That's fine. Leo asks, just to clarify, the spawn point can be outside the area with a path leading into the area as long as no scenery, etc. is built around the path other than the allowed trees, or have I got the wrong end of the spawning stick? Oh, that's cute. Let's open up game. Okay, so as you can see by default, when I set up my scenario and showed you guys the borders, yeah, the path goes outside and the spawning point is technically back here. So absolutely you can build their spawning point outside, but you just got to remember your park entrance has to be on the inside. So you can't just be like, okay, here's my spawning point, here's my giant park entrance, and now I have the rest of the space to fill. Now your park entrance has got to have to be here, but yeah, you can have your spawning point outside. So if you're not happy with the default spawning point, and because you're in scenario mode, you could technically in scenario mode delete this and just flatten this terrain. You can get rid of it all, close off that spawn point, and then create your own. And your spawning point could be somewhere in this cave, for example, and they spawn in there, they come in here, but your park entrance now has to be here. So hopefully that answers your question. Creamy Duck, if you were able to make a valley with rocks in the wall, do points get removed when the rock is slightly behind the boundary? Valley of rocks behind the wall. Better be a damn good valley of rocks. Well, because we're allowing rocks outside of the boundary now, you shouldn't have a problem. You should be able to do terrain and rocks and all that stuff. So yeah, I guess so. Augie asks a billion questions. 1, you mentioned that we have to allow trees, water, terrain outside. Are we allowed to have rocks as example if someone were to make a mountain or a hilly landscape where rocks needed? Yeah, that's fine. Does the park have to be submitted with 40 by 40 scenario made border with it, or can we just use the blueprint guide you made and delete it before uploading to the workshop? Honestly, that's a great question, but also kind of like do both. So if you want to just use the little guide that we made, let me go back in game. So yeah, we have the guide. If anyone's wondering what he's talking about, we made the guide. So if you want to just start with this plopped down and you build your park within that, I still think you should delete it and or fit your boundaries to that. So I can literally open this up in scenario mode if I so choose and go, yep, look at that. He built all the way outside the thing and he didn't go above the height. He didn't go below the ground. It makes my life easier. So I would appreciate it if you have those boundaries. And what's nice about the boundaries in scenario mode, it keeps the boundary even on your terrain. So if you were to say use this boundary, you're going to get lost at some point because now you're editing your terrain on the outside and what happens? You've lost your border. Now you're going to accidentally build outside of that border and you are going to get disqualified because you can't see your border anymore. With this scenario mode, it always ensures that you never go beyond it. So I highly recommend you do your setup in scenario mode, you finish in scenario mode, and you can submit this as a regular park file, and I can open it up in either sandbox or scenario mode if I so choose. So it's not that extra, it's saving your park out and opening it into different mode. It's really not that hard. So I recommend you stay precautious. Absolutely. Am I allowed to put box cats in it as they are previously existing blueprints? No box cats. Absolutely not. You are the only person in the entire contest that's forbidden to use a specific type of blueprint. And in fact, everyone in this contest is forbidden from using box cats. If we build 100 meter underground, for example, does that mean we can only build 200 meters above ground, or we could still build 300 meters above ground? You get 100 meters above or below. So you can go 50 under, 50 above. That's it. So if you go 100 meters underground, you can't build anything above ground, and now your park sucks. Does the park entrance have to be within the border or can be further away from the rest of the park? For example, your park entrance has to be inside. Absolutely. And it does not count as your one little blueprint outside. Nope. So that answers that question because someone's going to ask it. When you have, say, 5 shops as a minimum, does it have to be 5 separate shop skins or can it be all a part of a singular building? It's a great question. Well, I feel like if you just have it like as a strip mall and it's just like bang, 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 you kind of cheated. So I'd like to see 5 separates. 5, yeah, so one over there, one over there, one over there. 5 locations of shops, but you could still do strip buildings. It's going to count as 1. I think that's fair. I hope. Do toilets, ATMs, its entertainment points, etc. count as a shop skin? If they're skinned, yes. If you have an awesome ATM section, you have an awesome toilet, an entertainer point, I will count that. Not an entertainer point, no. And then, unless it's awesome. Do the main attractions have to be open when we upload the park file, or would be in test mode or even closed? Everything has to have full queues. The guests have to be riding everything. It has to be a fully functioning theme park. So everything open. If we have 2-3 main attractions, will we still need 2 ride skins, or can we get away? No, 2 ride skins, 1 main attraction. We're not asking for 2 or 3 main attractions. We're just giving people that option. Everyone needs 2 ride skins, 1 main attraction, a park entrance, and 5 shops. You can do more of each, but that's on you. Does a kiddie coaster count as a main attraction? Yeah, it does. How is the contest being judged? Is it public vote or is there a judging panel? If so, is there a rough guide on the scoring system? It's the community, and the community is judging the best theme park, not the best main attraction, the best overall package. Next, Ebsy says, can we ban Augie for asking question 3? What was question 3? Am I allowed to put box? Yes, we can ban. Somebody issue a 15-minute ban on Augie, please, and mute him for an hour. No box cats. Next, it's your fault for asking. To what extent can we theme the surroundings? For example, can we have small structures that greatly increase the immersion of the surrounding of the mini park, or is it limited? Okay, I think we've covered this many a times. And that's why we did the poll, because everyone was asking this question, so sorry for the duplicates. If we have something on our workshop, instead of just putting it in, can we just remake it? Okay, if you have something on your workshop, like I have my Cosmic Cow, if I were to compete in this contest, I'm using my Cosmic Cow. I'm not gonna remake it. It's absolutely silly. So I said you can reuse stuff on your own workshop as long as you you created it as long as it's small. But if you cannot take a coaster from your workshop, you cannot take a ride or with a ride skin from your workshop. You cannot take a shop that's skinned from your workshop. But if you made a little Zeus statue, you can use that. It has to be a small blueprint, and I don't want you remaking things just because. Okay, if we do the requirements of the rank above, does it give us extra points? Absolutely. If you're a builder, if you submit, and we're asking for advanced quality, if you submit expert, master, or legend quality, you're gonna get more votes from the viewers, and you're gonna win in the top 5. So absolutely, it indirectly affects you. There you go. Does your park have to be realistic, or is it okay to have some less realistic stuff if it fits in the theme? Nobody's asking for realism, so have fun. Have a lot of fun. There's a pretty big problem here. 520 by 520 is a tiny bit bigger than 40 by 40, or I guess 160 by 160. When people use the Imperial, they need 518 by 518. Okay, so Jersey Coaster Kid found that out for us. If you guys are on the Imperial system, use 518 by 518 instead of 520 by 520, which we suggested. Or you can always go into your game settings and switch it to the metric system and make sure you have 160 by 160. But we're not gonna slaughter you if you're 2 pixels off. Can terrain go above the 100-meter limit? Ooh, that's a good question. Back to game. Let's see what the 100-meter limit looks like. So if we're here, oh, you know what? Yeah, if you have a mountain in the background that goes higher than the, I guess that doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess that doesn't matter. Make it look good though. Whatever's in this box cannot go above. But yeah, if you have a mountain like back here for background aesthetics, I think that's okay. What do you guys think? I think that's right. Are we allowed to have waterfalls outside of the limits? We've come to that decision as long as it's not the Niagara Falls and they're minor waterfalls and they don't kill computers. Can you have 4 coasters? I wanted to do 3, but I will need a very small one as well. You won't talk to me once you fit 3 in that tiny area. You're not, no. How long will the voting be open for each rank? Until the end of the last rank, all of them. Can we put a track ride outside of the border for streets and the people walk across the sidewalk? No track rides outside the border. Nothing, no rides outside the border. Can we put a path outside the border for the entrance? Yes, yeah, of course. Can I do an indoor park? I have such a good idea for it and it would be a crazy theme. Well, back to game. Okay, if you do your indoor park and this blue shell ends up being your indoor thing, it's a cube, I think it's gonna suck. If you were to make a realistic building with proper aesthetic pieces, you know, AC units on top and shipping receiving areas and yada yada yada, and you could do a proper style realistic building in a certain area and then have stuff on the inside like a ride, I think that's fine. But if you just like make a giant indoor park, like what's the point? You're literally just putting a lid on your park. So you better make it look good. If you do indoor, you're putting yourself at a risk of either being disqualified or just completely rock bottom of your bracket. So you're gonna have to really hit it home because you're already dealing with a tough space. So, you know, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Leaving it there. I think being more specific about what can be outside of the border is a good idea. Yeah. Okay, we covered this. Yep. That's why I did the poll. I was like seeing way too many of these questions and way too many people want to build outside. So very limited build outside. Are you allowed to take things from your own workshop? Tiny things, only tiny things. No shops, no rides, no coasters, statues, a little garden or something. Are we allowed to continue working on our entries after the end date to enhance the entry before you record it? Absolutely not. Don't update your workshop file ever, unless you have direct permission from me for a very certain reason. But for the most part, I'm probably going to record these things before you even have a chance to upload them. And don't try to get sneaky, because if I see it's updated before I get to it, I can just decide to disqualify you. So don't do that. How realistic is it expected to be for the park? Can we attempt full fantasy ideas? Absolutely, Warmgar. You're the fantasy king. You're the king of ideas. Go fantasy ham. Warmgar says, Johnny said not to go crazy, so I don't know what that means. Did I say that? Go crazy, guys. What I meant by that is don't like stack stuff all the way to the top, you know? Spaghetti bowls. Make it look like a park. Make it look like a themed fun place to go. I just don't want people to be like, oh, I got this flat ride, I put a coaster on top, and they're like, what is this? Just because you fit it in doesn't mean it's awesome. So you can go crazy as long as it's crazy awesome. Is there a way to switch back to scenario editor once in Sandbox? Yes, absolutely. Don't worry about it. So you have to go back and forth as many times as you need. It'll let you. I kind of have a specific question to my park. I want to create this massive dark ride that uses 2 or 4 different track systems. Would I be allowed to count those 2 or 4 systems as one ride because I have the same experience? I don't know what you mean necessarily. Like, are they like going in circles so they can trigger things? At the end of the day, if I'm just riding one ride and that's the experience, the other stuff is counted as scenery. Or like, yeah, like you can have like a coaster in the middle of the ground just triggering stuff if you need it to. I don't care about that. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Will a workshop review be conducted next month or so the brackets are better updated before the contest and judging? Yeah, we'll do a final workshop review before the contest goes live. The park has to be started tomorrow, right? It can't be an old park you have saved. Absolutely not. And yeah, if you're working on something and you use that work for the current contest and you're caught, it's an immediate disqualification. Don't even risk it. Start new, start fresh, be competitive, see what you can create. Everyone's starting at the same time. Don't try to edge out your competition. Okay, I think that's it. We got through it. Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We got through the Q&A. Looking at this, we're at 48 minutes. Chop that down a little bit. My goodness, that was a lot longer than I expected. That's what she said. All right. Well, if you guys like these face cam vlogs, I'm going to be doing them for the Patreon updates monthly, as well as the YouTube join. Click the little button, where would it be? Down here by the join, and $2 a month, $5 a month, you get to see my dumb ugly mug once a month, giving the Patreon vlogs. And maybe I'll use the webcam in future stuff, Fallout videos and stuff. So go watch my Fallout videos. Yeah, so we'll try to do the face cam a little bit more, especially for the Patreon updates. And with the Patreon updates, I know I want to have more interaction with the patrons. So in the Patreon monthly updates, and I know I'm a bit behind on this month, but we're kind of doing it in the middle of the month right now. We did it in the middle of the month last month. We're going to do it in the middle of the month this month. Eventually, we'll do it at the beginning. But anyways, I will be talking to you guys, saying what I'm doing, what I'm up to, and all that stuff, you know, what we're planning for the show and yada, yada, yada. Give you a sneak peek of what's coming up, all that stuff, the priority spotlights. We'll just go over everything. And that's your opportunity to talk to me. So when these exclusive videos are posted on both Patreon and YouTube join, whichever one you're a part of, you will get access to. And when that happens, you guys get to leave comments in that YouTube video. And it's actually better for me to do it there, because in the Patreon Discord chat, everyone just starts talking and it gets lost. So, and then if I respond, it's at the bottom. So with YouTube, it'll be like, there's your message, there's my reply, there's your reply, and we can have a conversation, just the two of us. And it's not like everyone in there. Ask me what's going on, ask me, questions, all that stuff, and I'll respond to you directly on those videos once a month. And it gives us a great opportunity to talk to each other once a month. And it works best for me. So you get to see my ugly mug once a month. Come join us for $2 a month, whatever you want to support, however you want to support the show. Your support is appreciated, and revenue is down mega because of all the world events. There's nothing to advertise when you can't go out and buy stuff. So it's been a big downer for me, and we're basically making $5 for these contest videos at best. So it's a lot of work, and I'm not getting paid. So if you guys want to support the show, it's appreciated. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me in today's video. There's all the questions, there's all your answers, and get building. Can't wait to see what you guys produce, so keep posting me down in the contest room. All right, everybody, I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.